Welcome back to another very special episode of Beyond the Wrench. We're here at the Milwaukee Pipeline event, and we've had a lot of fun here today. So many different things to see, so many different products to talk about. And today, Jason Isaacs is joining me to talk about lighting. And in our space, in the automotive and diesel spaces, lighting is a hot topic just because there are a lot of shops with very poor lighting. So we'll dive into everything lighting. But how you doing, Jason?
Doing well. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
How you holding up there on the out on the floor?
Fortunately enough, I didn't have to spend all day talking. I've got a product manager for my team that covered that for us
Nice.
this year. So I had the opportunity to walk around and really get ideas for next year. So.
Oh, very, very cool. So we're going to start this off very similar to how we start off every episode of Beyond the Wrench, which is talking about you, talking about your background and really what led you to what you do today. And I should mention your job title is Director of Product Marketing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's 100% it. So like my role within Milwaukee is really managing the portfolio of products we have, making sure we're continuing to deliver on what users are needing out in the marketplace and making sure we're growing that business on its own. And as this organization has gotten bigger and bigger, we've really focused on creating smaller teams within the group to make sure we're still managing really the intimate details at a category level.
Yeah.
That way we're not ignoring things over time. So, and that's a credence really to the leadership group to get people in the right spot to deliver on what our customers really need.
So what does your day-to-day life look like at Milwaukee?
Yeah, it's on the product management side. It's one of the most cross-functional roles that's out there. So you touch a little bit of everything from sales to distribution, to like commercial planning. So what promotions or placement programs are we running to get products actually into distribution, to production planning on the manufacturing side. And then at the beginning, really the development. And even before that, like what are we going to make?
Oh my goodness. How do you get prepared for a role like that where there are just so many different elements to it?
Another kind of cool part about the company, like when I start, and we're skipping over how I got here.
Well, we'll get back to that too.
But that's been the cool part of this. Like my entire time in corporate Milwaukee has been in lighting. So like 12 years doing this. I started when there was really nothing. There's a handful of products and have been able to kind of grow this into a pretty substantial business that covers a lot of different users and applications.
So, like, as we talk through this, let's go back and talk about what got you interested in this in the first place, right? So, when you go back, maybe you're in school. What was this something that you had on the radar as to what you were going to do with your life?
Sure, and I'll even start a little bit before that, just to set kind of the stage a little bit. But originally from a really small, like agricultural-based farm town, so grew up doing farm work, construction, things like that. Summer jobs.
Yeah.
And so like grew up pretty blue collar, grassroots type of stuff. And at that point in time, didn't really know what I wanted to do coming out of high school, but was familiar with a lot of things in that space. And then most of my family is in the automotive industry. So auto body, from farm implement type work to car truck, kind of really across the board. And then my dad drove a semi truck over the road as a sole proprietor. So I would help him on the weekends changing tires and doing just general maintenance there. So pretty well-versed background,
I would say,
on some of the hands-on side of things. But when I finished school, I'm like, I have no idea what I want to do. So I actually joined the military and went into the Army for 5 years. So did that for a little bit of time, and then I'm like, okay, time to put that behind me and work on kind of the next step. And went to the University of Nebraska, and still didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do long term. I'm like, came out of time in the military, and I'm like, okay, what's the thing I can go do that's most versatile on the back end? So just went and got a standard like business administration degree.
Sure.
That had a lot of flexibility within it. And then ironically, at the career fair at University of Nebraska, Milwaukee had a booth set up, and I'm like, okay, like I know tools, I'm comfortable with tools, and that really started the process. That was the first kind of glimpse of how fast this company moves, because it was like one quick conversation at an interview table. They're like, hey, you got an extra couple hours? And interviewing with a couple managers that they had there. And then I was up in Brookfield like a month later.
Wow.
And that was at the kind of the tail end of the spring semester. And I was graduating at the fall semester. And within a month of interviewing, they called me back. They're like, no, it probably wasn't even a month, a couple weeks. And they're like, hey, what do you think about upstate New York? I'm like, for a sales position. So I'm like, okay. I was on the East Coast before in my time in the military, back to the Midwest. And this is 2010, 11. So the job market was kind of on its back.
Coming back a little bit, yeah.
Back a little bit, but like everything was still a little iffy. I'm like, let's go. And it was definitely the best life decision I've ever made. Really, because it's got me here.
Yeah.
And I never really... It was a sales position, but they're like, we have a big leadership development program that allows you to go a lot of different ways, and then started to get a better understanding of different paths. And for me, like sales wasn't really for me. It was a great experience to learn a lot about like our largest distribution partners and things like that. But pretty quickly, I had my eyes set on product and did a couple years in sales, and then was afforded the opportunity to interview for a role in corporate. And I've been here ever since, and it's been a blast.
Oh, it's such a great company, and we've talked a lot today about culture and really what a great culture that Milwaukee has. Did you feel that as soon as you kind of came in the doors and started your career?
Yeah, and like the people I started with are like some of my best friends that were in my wedding. So that's, and I think Tim even brought it up on the Q&A portion of what kind of keeps people here. And it is very like foundational to like, hey, no job is easy, right? And like having other people that you're really close to like even kind of having a confidant to like go to, like, hey, I'm having this problem. How, like, have you ran into this before? And just having like those close relationships to be able to go at, like have
huge.
those conversations, it's priceless.
It is. And that's, I think, what everybody's looking for when they're going to work somewhere, right? Is they want that supportive culture, and Milwaukee's done a phenomenal job with that. I do have to ask, as somebody that came from a small rural town, we had a conversation about this before we hit record. You talked about summer jobs working on a farm. Did that include haying?
Oh, of course.
That's whenever I'm complaining about my daily job, my daily responsibilities, I look back, I'm like, at least I'm not in a haymow anymore.
Yeah, it can always be harder, sweatier.
Yeah.
So.
No airflow whatsoever. Yeah, it's that's actually bringing back some memories for me right now, where I'm like, oh my goodness. Middle of August, it was not fun to be in a barn at that point.
Yeah, talk about a time, like, it was kind of warm outside today, but like when you're doing physical labor all day outside and then you have to go put it up in a barn, like it's
we got it pretty good right now. Yeah. Well, this is thank you for all the information on your background. Such a cool background. Now, when we talk about lighting, this is your specialty. This is something that I think a lot of shops are interested in, just because there's been what I would consider a lack of lighting for a long time, and it makes your job really, really hard when you can't see what you're actually working on. Talk to me a little bit about what Milwaukee has done in the lighting space.
Yeah, it's pretty broad. We started, really the mainstay of what we did was really leveraging like M12 and M18 to get lighting off the ground. So, and this has been well over a decade ago, where like it was, hey, in the automotive space, like everybody had the incandescent drop light on a 25-foot extension cord, dropping it down into engine compartment, gets hot, all that stuff, right? And we brought M12 and M18 stick lights to the market pretty significant time ago.
Yeah.
But that was like that really easy one to figure out. And So we did that, and then the big thing at the time was really how do you go out and deliver a light that's as bright as halogen products in the market? And obviously now halogen has kind of gone by the wayside for LED technology. But the first one we launched is our kind of baseline M18 floodlight. When we launched it right as I was starting on the lighting team, and right as I showed up, I saw all the back order issues that we had with it because we launched a product that's was $100 in the marketplace against products that are $15-$20.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, like this could go well. And I think we had orders in our system for what we thought we were going to sell in the first 6 months. So that really opened our eyes of like, okay, this is much bigger than this one individual product. And then from there, we've just really scaled it in a way that really leaning in on like form and function, like making products easier to move around. And as LED technology and efficiency has continued to grow, we've partnered with some of the premier LED vendors across the world to make sure we're always leaning in heavy on the efficiency side, which a lot of the commodity stuff doesn't have to do because they're always plugged in. So we're trying to always focus on delivering the most performance, the most efficient level of performance for the best cost.
As somebody that once I had a trouble light on a car, and I had raised it up on a hoist, and it was connected to a cord, which was connected to the wall, and credit to the strength of this old light to stay in the wall, stay plugged in. But I raised the hoist all the way up, and it actually caught and acted like a slingshot and came back down and just it shred into a million pieces,
Sure.
right? Shattered like crazy. So as you're developing this technology, I'm sure you're seeing some of those kind of cases where, you know, hey, like maybe that's not the safest, or maybe that's not the best way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And in like we swung hard at durability in this category from when we started.
Almost have to, right?
Yeah, it was like one of the biggest downsides of the stuff that was out there at the market at the time, and kind of still is to a certain extent. And it was a hard thing to do long term too. Like in that floodlight that we made, that really springboarded us into a lot of other segments of lighting, is bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like one kind of story about that product, it was out on the tramway at Disney World. They were working on it at night. The battery died. Someone left it on the tracks. Tram came through the next day, ran it over. The whole thing was flattened. They bent it back, plugged a battery in it, and it still worked.
Oh my goodness.
So, and like one, it was a really important thing. Like, hey, we weren't going to solve for that, right? Which is fine. But it set such a high durability standard in this space. And it was like, okay, like that's the low water mark. Like we can never go below that. And it really set the stage to force our engineering teams to really think differently about how we design and develop products in a way that they can live in a lot of these environments. We're not trying to design stuff to get ran over by a train by any means, but like we need to keep that always really front of mind against a really heavy commodity market.
Which makes total sense. And, you know, I am interested in the development side of this, right? Because it's easy to say lighting, oh, we got lights on the ceiling. And in our environment, that doesn't play well a lot of times, because you do have a hood going up, or you have something that's going to block whatever lighting you have. Talk to me a little bit about how do you find opportunities to build something different?
Sure. It's not as complex as what you would think. It just takes time.
Okay.
And takes time to take a step back and listen and watch and understand the situations that in a really intimate detail. And a lot of times it's like you talk to someone in an automotive shop or in any environment, it's like, this is the problem. And you're like, okay, and you ask a couple other questions, and you get to a much deeper underlying problem that you really need to solve for, that also solves for the thing that's front of mind for them. So it takes a lot of time there in the first place. And like, I push my team to like, hey, we don't have to design the solution, right? We have to go out and clearly identify like where the products are, where they need to live, what the problems are with the existing things. And then we have an entire design group where like, hey, here's the
what we
problem. like, we're going to step away and come back with some options to help us solve this. And
was that a progression in your career, would you say, in just being able to ask the right questions and really being able to get to the true problem?
yeah, it's definitely the hardest part of that role, of the role of a product manager, because it's easy to jump to the solution, like, oh, I can go do this, and that takes care of it. And really peeling back the onion to understand everything at a very granular level to make sure whatever we bring to the market is delivering on the user need and unique, right? Uniqueness sells really well, especially in the automotive space.
Yeah.
And that was a really hard, because you think you're doing it the right way. And the good thing is like, when I came in, my manager and manager's manager were really good at challenging me on like this is really baseline. Like, we need depth around this and continued coaching and understanding of how to do it well, because this is a trait that, like, people go to school to do this as a career path, and we're trying to figure out how to do it as product managers, but also do the development and commercial side and all those types of things.
One thing that I think has resonated with every Milwaukee employee that I've talked to is that piece right there, and how key that is to the success of the company as a whole. Being able to go in and truly understand that, hey, we've got to dig a little bit deeper. Are there times when you're trying to dig a little bit deeper where you're getting resistance from the people you're trying to get more information from?
Oh, for sure. And every person you talk to in the field is unique in their own way. Some people are very closed off and
I've seen them. Yeah,
don't really want to engage in a conversation. They care more about the work they need to get done, which is fine. But you find some people that can really articulate the problems, and you can drive the depth. And the challenge for us is we want to try to get in there and do this as fast as we can, because we're getting in the way of that individual making money too. So we have to be really efficient with it and try to keep it as condensed as possible. And for us, like, you kind of trial run a survey or a path of line of questioning. You try it once and you're like, okay, this didn't work right. And then you're back out in your car, like, kind of rescoping, restructuring everything in a way that allows you to get to where you need to go as efficient as you can.
So I want to walk through, like, day of in a shop and really try to understand this process. Is it as simple as you've got a pad of paper and you pull up a chair in the corner of the shop and just watch the techs work, or how does that look?
Yeah, it can be. Sometimes it's very prescriptive around trying to really focus on something hyper specific, and then there's times where it's very exploratory and you're trying to just, it may be observational, and sometimes it may just be kind of digging in on what someone's doing. And the hard part in an automotive shop is you never know what's going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, they may be replacing a rear differential, and then the next time you go in, they're doing brakes and tires on a vehicle. And it's like, okay, this is totally different than what I saw last time, but I need to maximize my time now. So how do I steer the line of questioning in a way that fits to that person's application?
Interesting.
Because I'm a true believer in, like, if you're not seeing the actual work that's being done to feed back into the product you're developing, it becomes a little bit challenging on understanding, like, some data-driven decisions through that process.
I'll give you an example that used to drive me absolutely nuts. I started off my career as a technician, and front brake jobs were always a pain because you would hang the light, like, on the strut, or, and it was twisted the wrong way, and you could never actually get it to where you wanted to look at it. Did you see that scenario in any of these shops?
Yeah, and I would like to show you our M12 underbody light for that specific application. Right. But yeah, and that's the craziness about an automotive technician's needs around lighting. They're always having to work around something, always having to reach around something to get to nut, bolt, hoses, whatever. It's a very, very unique application versus a lot of the other core trades that we focus on, but also opens up a huge opportunity for us to go out and solve things in a unique way.
Interesting. So in that scenario, you see that there's a problem, and you see that, hey, maybe we've got to come up with a different way to get the light in that really kind of compact space, with the technician having their hands in there and really just I think a lot of opportunities to block light from being able to really have that technician be able to see what they're working on. From that stage, I mean, are you then kind of in your mind just trying to figure out, okay, how could I get the light in there?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that, and sometimes like we don't even make it that far. It's a lot of times it's like, okay, this is the problem,
and then you hand it.
Yeah, and then like, hey, we may come back into the office and grab a couple designers and engineers and go flip up a hood in the parking lot and say like, okay, this is what I saw, and like, what are ways that we think we can solve this, or to get the most value you can get out of a development team is getting them immersed in the problem. And if you can get everybody bought in on like, hey, are we all in agreement that this is
actually
challenge?
A problem? Yeah.
And then it's just like clockwork. Everything starts, and you can't always solve everything in every application, but those are the things that make really our team the most powerful, is really outlining those situations really well.
Technicians, have you checked out WrenchWay yet? It's a free online community for automotive and diesel professionals just like you. Whether you're job hunting or just looking to connect with other industry professionals, WrenchWay makes it easy to explore opportunities, stay updated on industry news, and help promote the technician profession. With WrenchWay, you can see detailed job info you care about before you apply or interview, stay in the loop with what's happening in the auto and diesel community, explore technician compensation in your area and across the U.S., track your certifications, and much more. Join the WrenchWay community for free at wrenchway.com or download the WrenchWay mobile app. Links are in the show notes.
How has the automotive side of lighting grown over the years? Because obviously the product line has exploded with all kinds of different things. Walk me through that piece a little bit. You started off when you started your career with a lot less selection of lighting products. Now it's crazy.
Yeah. So when I started, I think we had 5 products, and for perspective, now we have over 60 products across 5 different battery types. 4 different battery types, and then we have internal rechargeable products, and then a small mix of other like alkaline stuff that's not really a focus for us. But the hard part is like we have a lot of users to feed from our brand, and we dip in like every couple of years. We go heavy on like, what's the next user group that we really want to focus on? And you've seen that through product development from us over the last better part of a decade. And when we started, like, hey, we started with a very baseline, like, hey, here's a stick light that's powered off of M12, one that's powered off of M18. The next easy answer was like, hey, a lot of guys are using corded underhood lights. Like, hey, we've got some batteries that can help
power
guys
that.
with that. So we went down that path. And then 2017, 2018, we were starting to get another portfolio of products up off the ground around personal lights. So like flashlights, headlamps, things like that. And you walk into an automotive tech's shop and be like, hey, do you mind if I take a look at your toolbox? Or like, where do you keep your flashlights in your toolbox? They pull open a drawer. And it is
with all the other stuff.
Yeah. But they may have 2 or 3 different pin lights, a few different flashlights, and we're like, oh wow, like there's a huge need here. Like obviously, like if they have this many things, none of it's doing really well, or they just bought it on a bargain deal somewhere. Which isn't uncommon either. But it opened up our eyes to where there's a substantial amount of opportunity, and is with how diverse applications are in the automotive space, like size is really critical. And we started to build in a lot of functionality into our personal lighting program to help with that. So whether it's a pin light that slips in someone's shirt pocket and they wear it literally every second that they're in the shop. We did some unique things around putting like FDA approved rubber on the back, because the first thing first thing you have to do when you need a light and you need to work with both hands, that flashlight goes in someone's mouth.
100%. I've
So-
been there a million times. Yeah, absolutely.
So we just did the FDA approved rubber on the back of the
Who
light.
would have thought of that?
Yes, rather than just biting on a big metal tube. And then we did like on Red Lithium USB, which is a single cell swappable battery platform that we have. We did stick light, which is kind of commonplace in the automotive space. And then probably 4 years ago, I'm going to get the year wrong, was really one of the first really unique products that we launched in the automotive industry was the M12 underbody light. And that was a product that really came to life around really just watching a technician hit the button on the lift to send a car up in the air. And then they're like fighting around trying to figure out how to light up everything underneath. And it's like, okay, they're a tech's picking up a flashlight or trying to grab a corded light and set it on the ground and cast it up. And then they look down and they're staring into it. And it's like, okay, why can't we just take the light closer to the application and just make it adjustable? And it kind of came from an idea of being at the dentist and like, they pull the light over your head and it's just that thing inversed.
Wow.
So then we thought about like, hey, what are the other, like, hey, this thing isn't small by any means, but it's adjustable in the right way. How do we get as much out of the space that we're taking up in this environment as we can? And then we saw guys going to put their sockets on the arm of the lift or ratchets or whatever. And we're like, why don't we just put a magnetic tray in this? And then, boom, engineers in a week had magnets integrated into it. And then guys were just setting magnets and bolts and nuts just right on that magnetic tray. So now you think of it from a shop owner standpoint, like, okay, you're saving a few seconds here and there, but a few seconds here and there over a year,
It's huge.
add up to a ton of time. And that was really one of the really cool products to see go into the market, and really a lot of people gravitate to it out of the gates.
That was one of those, like the first time you walk into a store and see that, you're like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So when you're going through this, it feels like it's not just all about the lighting itself. It's about how the light gets to where you need it to be. So like if it is a magnetic base, if it is something else like the adjustment in it, like that's kind of a game changer, because I don't feel like there was anything else like that before that.
Yeah, for sure. And the light is can be one of the easier parts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where it does become challenging, but really making sure you're maximizing the utility out of the product is one of the things that we really try to lean hard on in a space with a lot of other options, right? Like there's, hey, we have the largest market share in all of our battery systems. So like that is something, one, we don't take for granted, first and foremost, but also like it gives us a lot of flexibility too, but we don't want to just ignore the fact of like, hey, people are going to just buy it because it's M12 or M18. We want to do everything we can on each one of those products to make sure it delivers as much as we possibly can.
So what else do we have in the automotive world, lighting wise?
Sure. So another kind of the big brother to that M12 underbody light last summer, I guess we're just right at a year of it being in the market. We did what we named the M18 extendable boom light. So once we got that M12 product into the market, it was like, okay, like this is great, but it's great for cars and trucks. We need something bigger for everything from over-the-road vehicles to heavy equipment. Just the application area grows, and the size of the equipment grows. So we needed something proportionally larger to tackle those applications as well. So, which was its own challenge in its own right of how to get that thing hammered out. Because once you put 40 some inches of extendable length off 3 different arms, like you need a lot of magnetic strength to hold it.
Yeah.
So I think that magnet can hold like up to 200 pounds to get to hold it at full distance, especially like, and we're like, okay, what if the frame's rusted?
Yeah.
Like that comes into consideration. So we threw everything we could at the magnetic strength on it. In development, we're like, the first prototype, we stick it to something and we're like, oh no, like how do we get this thing off of here? And I think we ended up like using a pry bar to break
Really?
it loose, and it's like, okay, we need to come up with something different. So I kind of framed up the problem, took it to the engineering team, and they just went and created a mechanical advantage arm in it that just had a little plunger on the bottom that popped it loose. Takes like, I don't know, 10 pounds of pressure to break it loose and good to go.
How did you get around like the rusty frame thing? Because that probably is an issue in and of itself, where you want to make the magnet really, really strong, but you also have to be able to get it off. Or you like, I feel like if you're talking about a rusty frame, those of us in the Midwest, we really struggle with this,
Sure.
right? It is like you're just making a really strong magnet, or you just make the magnet stronger to get through some of the rust to maybe some of the true metal that can hold it.
Yeah, and like, hey, rust is one thing, but it's also frame coatings.
Oh,
right?
yes.
So, like, you go get into that, and some of that stuff is, I don't know how thick it is, but it, like more than 1/4 of an inch. And you look at magnets, like any air gap between the steel surface and that magnet has an exponential effect on the strength of that magnet. So we tried to take all of those situations in mind as we're like, okay, what does the magnetic strength need to be? And you stack all those things up, and it's like, okay, on bare steel, this thing's going to hold 200 pounds.
Man.
And magnets aren't free either. So like we had to continue to add cost in it to do what was right for the application.
That is so cool. Now, other examples I just want to run through with you and see if just one example that in my own personal experience was a challenge was underneath the dash.
Sure.
I don't know what you suggest for something like that, but that is a lot of times if you're a technician, you're on your back, upside down, sideways, you're kind of, it's very uncomfortable. And the worst thing is if you don't have light placement in the right spot.
Yeah. So that's been a common challenge that we've tried to solve in a few different products because it continues to come up. And for me, it's like, okay, we don't have this thing totally solved
Sure.
yet. But we're making incremental improvements kind of with a lot of the products we're doing on the red lithium USB line. So we have a couple really small compact floodlights. And then also on internal rechargeable, we have it's roughly the size of an iPhone. So really slim, low profile light. We see a lot of guys, it's magnetic, so you can put it on, and it's got some flexible arms on the back, so you can clip it to like your arm coming in for your brake and stick it to that, and then you can pivot it and angle it up underneath the dash, which isn't the best for a lot of applications because a lot of times you're staring into it. But you can also slip that back up underneath the dash. So if you're doing wiring or working on gauges or whatever underneath the dash, like you can do all those things pretty efficiently as well. So we haven't necessarily come out with the Milwaukee underdash light,
Yeah.
but try to keep that in mind for a lot of the auto specific products and general use products that we have.
One request I would have that
right,
I
let's hear
think
it.
is out of the blue a little bit, but what would be great is if you had some form of like air tag in the light, because it happens
Yeah.
more than you'd think where
No.
especially with the smaller lights, they get stuck to something and then like, where did I put that light? It's on somebody's car underneath like a dash somewhere, and it's hard to find them.
Yeah. Another problem that we still need to continue to work on the right solution. I think there's to your point, there's technology available that's out there, and there's challenges that come with kind of everything, but it's something we're still committed to spending time on.
You talked about the headlight earlier.
Yeah.
What is the actual name of the headlamp that goes that you wear on your head?
So we have a few different ones. Yeah. So we have one of the ones that's really been beneficial in the automotive space is our internal rechargeable headlamp floodlight. So it's a really cool kind of unique execution where the headlamp is actually removable from the band.
Okay.
And it's magnetic on the back. So you can, for a technician, they're looking in an engine compartment or whatever. And another great product for some of the under dash applications.
Yeah.
Really slim, low profile light that you can just take off. Obviously, it's magnetic because that's what it holds it into into the headlamp strap, but you can take that off and move it to any magnetic surface and stick it where you need it. So it's kind of a quasi mini floodlight / headlamp that does really well in the auto space.
That's another one where it feels like in the last couple of years that's come on really, really strong, where you walk into a shop now and it's not uncommon to see the technicians walking around with the headlamps on all day long. And I don't know that I saw that, several years ago. You used to have, way back in the day, the really wonky ones that didn't fit right and the light was terrible. But these ones, they put off some light. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, it's the power source and LED technology that's out there now allows you to really deliver a significant amount of light. And in actuality, a lot of times it's more than what most people need.
Yeah.
Like to actually do a job within arm's reach, you don't need as much light. But like on a package, it's like, am I going to buy 1,500 lumens or 1,000 lumens? And that's another area where we've got to do a better job of kind of crafting like how much performance is actually needed, because it all comes at the sacrifice of how long that light's going to last too.
Do you have any advice on that side of like if you're out in the market and you're looking for something and it's described in lumens? I know a lot of hunters are very familiar with it, but if maybe you're not that hunter that's out there, is there something to keep in mind when you're looking for a light?
And it's all hard to say. And like if you've been through our battery rotation here, one of the common themes that we say is like not all lithium is the same.
Yeah.
In the lighting world, not all lumens are the same. And kind of an easy way to describe it is lumens is kind of the volume of light that's coming out of it. And then as you direct that light, you can actually increase the intensity of that light as well. So there's a lot of times where you can take 500 lumens of light, direct it in the right way, and it actually seems brighter than 1,000. And the numbers are somewhat arbitrary,
right.
Just to kind of make a point. But we spend a lot of time on optical development as well. So we have engineers and test equipment. Next time you're in town, I'd love to show you a little bit of it.
Love it.
But we simulate our optical designs in software, and then we test it through that simulation to see if it's actually doing what we want it to do, and we can model it into a actual environment and space, and then we'll 3D print it or have it soft tooled and manufactured or machined, and then drop it into the product to make sure, like, okay, do these things all work out? And usually, okay, we got to do it a couple times to get everything tweaked and worked out. But we're always battling this balance between like how much performance is needed for the application and how long do people need these to last, to not be a burden on the daily workflow, right? Because once you have to either remove that battery or remove that light from the environment to charge it, pretty obvious, right? Like you can't get a whole lot done. So we're very specific on how we manage that relationship.
The battery side of it, I think, is so important. Also, just like everything else, Milwaukee, if you've got your charger running and you are pretty consistently putting batteries on it, I think it is a little bit more of a habit from a technician standpoint to just go throw a battery on the charger. Whereas if it's not a universal battery that's going to be used in other things, you forget to plug that light in one night and you come back and you have a dead light and you're starting the day with a dead light, and it's kind of frustrating.
And that's the unique thing that Milwaukee provides in the industry is a single cell swappable battery that's compatible with other stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of our competitors in that space are things that are available in the market. Like some of the common competitors out there have 20, 30 different batteries. And we're like, okay, like
it's overwhelming just thinking about it.
You just buy a light and you're like, okay, what are the other things that I can put on the same battery from a competitive standpoint? You have one or two things, where we have 15 different products that work on that same battery. And we feel like there's a high value of swappability in that space, especially for a high frequency user like an automotive technician.
I work with a lot of entry-level technicians, just in general, a lot of experienced ones too. But do you have any advice for them as they're maybe starting their tool collection in what way to go with the lighting? Because it can be cool to have the underbody light. It can be cool to do all of this, but if you had that young technician that was starting, would you have any advice on maybe what the best path for them to go down in terms of lighting with Milwaukee?
Yeah, I think if a new technician really bought 2 products out of the gates, they would be in a good spot to really spend some time doing the work to figure out what they really need. And those 2 things are a headlamp, and we have a bunch of different ones. And then also a pin light. Doing that inspection work to actually executing the work are 2 critical, hyper common things for an automotive technician. And hey, they need that high torque impact wrench. They need those really highly productive money making tools in their toolbox before they start adding on all these other things.
Yeah.
And hey, would I love for somebody to go just buy every single product? But absolutely. But it maybe not the right thing
until they start to make some money.
Go out and don't get yourself so far in debt out of the gates on it. Work your way into it and buy what you need, because that's going to set yourself up better to, one, be more comfortable personally.
Yeah.
And then also kind of grow into the space and be a little more specific about what your long-term needs are.
That is incredible advice. I hope we actually take that clip for the advice piece alone, because that is, I think, it can get overwhelming with how many options are out there, and just to know, hey, these are things that are going to get you by until you start to make some money, until you start to find yourself in a better financial position. So I just think that's fantastic advice. We're getting close to the end of the show, and there are a couple things I wanted to ask you about first, product-specific things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I was just interested in. And so we'll do kind of a rapid fire. Tell us a little bit about them, because I am curious. So that you have the red lithium USB stick light with magnet.
Yeah, so that, and I kind of a little bit referenced it on the front end, but that was a really cool product that's really solely focused for the automotive technician. So that's a good one that, hey, we talked about the inspection piece to actually doing the work. And that's another really good product for a new technician to think about. That light just kind of visually looks like a standard stick light that's out there in the market, but there's a lot of bells and whistles into it as well. So at the end of the stick light portion, there's a little inspection light. So doing some of the general inspection work, whether it's the front of the engine or underneath, really good solution for doing those things. And then you talked about trouble lights, things like that. So something that provides a broader area of light. That actually has a light bar on the front and the back that you can
nice.
Turn on the front or the back or both. So if you need to drop that into an engine compartment, and say you need to pull spark plugs or something like that, it's got a hook on the bottom. You can hang that hook on a wire loom running across an engine compartment, and then you have light across the entire side of the engine. So that's a really good one. Trying to think, what else am I missing? Oh, and as most of our lights do, it's got a pretty strong magnet on it. So if you're working underneath an engine and you need to have that kind of mounted task light, it's kind of somewhat of a mini version of that M12 or M18 boom light.
Oh, very cool, and very handy. The red lithium USB 400L neck light.
Yeah, so the neck light is a really cool one. And you think of, hey, we spent a lot of time talking about headlamps and the need of getting light in and around things. And sometimes shining light from the top of your head, or based on the direction of your eyes, isn't always the best way to do it. So a lot of times actually casting light up from underneath is beneficial, and something that you can kind of wear all day and not have the compression of a headband around your head.
Yeah.
So that's a really great one. That's part of our red lithium USB platform that you can swap batteries between. Also that stick light as well. So you have that swappability ability. So that's another good one. Trying to think if there's anything else.
I've never actually worn one of those, by the way. I need to. I have to try one of those at some point.
We'll figure something out.
All right, yeah. All right. The last one I'll ask you about: paint and detailing color match light.
Yeah, we didn't even get into the collision side.
Yes.
So this was.
We'll have to do it again sometime because we'll have to dive further into that.
And I will say, as a caveat, that is our only collision paint and body type of product, but really came from spending time in shops that okay, you go through one side of the shop and it's all all technicians, and then you go to the other side and it's a bunch of auto body guys.
Yeah.
And we spent some time in there, and like we're seeing a lot of these color match lights that are out there, color correction and all that. And we're like, okay, we can do this better than some of the stuff that we're seeing.
Yeah.
And we got with some of our LED vendors to get the right LED for it and an appropriate optical design. It's probably one of our least known products, to be honest with you. But
so far, I have a feeling it's coming.
Yeah. And it's crazy to see how many people gravitate to that product once they get their hands on it. We've shown it at SEMA a handful of years, and you get the big dogs of the custom paint space, and I'm just like, hey, check this out. Tell me what you think. Like, I don't even want to try to sell you on it. And versus some of the stuff that's out there that's $700, $800, $900 for a really affordable price, it does everything that those products do and more.
Man, I learned so much about lighting today. I really hope we get you back as a guest sometime, because this is really interesting. And I think some of this, you just think about the future of lighting and how much of an impact you've already had, and looking forward, what it's going to continue to be. It's exciting stuff. So I appreciate you joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been a blast.
That wraps up another episode of Beyond the Wrench. If you liked this episode, please show your support by rating and following the podcast. You can also watch the video interviews on WrenchWay's YouTube channel. Speaking of WrenchWay, did you know Beyond the Wrench is managed and produced by the WrenchWay team? WrenchWay is an online community dedicated to promoting and improving automotive and diesel careers. We help technicians find the best shops to work at, and we also help auto, diesel, and CTE instructors get more support from local industry. You can learn more by visiting wrenchway.com.